Game on the line. Williams lofting one for a doozy. He caught
it! You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project, where now we're only 9 episodes away from the regular season. This is awesome. Single digits now, boys. We're getting there. I know it's early July. It seems like there's an eternity to wait, but it'll be here before we know it. Training camp starts later this month. It's going to be awesome. And then we've got preseason starting next month. There's reason to be excited. And then, oh yeah, by the way, if you're a college football fan, we've got football, meaningful football next month as well. It's going to be awesome. I'm amped up for today's show. I was talking to Matt beforehand. I was definitely exhausted today. Made some really bad decisions staying up entirely too late playing the new college football game. Lots of stuff going around online on that, so always fun. But gentlemen, how are we doing? Matt, start with you.
I am doing well. Excited after our little spontaneous trip this week, Ryan.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on like the back end of like this mini vacation kind of thing. So, but no, been a good week, and I'm excited to talk AFC South.
Not West.
Not
yet.
West.
Definitely not AFC West. West next week though. Next week we got the West.
Are you sure it's not the North? I'm kidding.
Keep following the compass.
Yeah.
Keep following the compass there. No, everything is Skippy here. It's gonna be great. Excited to talk football. Excited to talk College Corner in a couple weeks. That should be starting up here soon. Me and Matt have some fun stuff planned for that. It'll be good. We'll jump right into it though here.
Yeah, I just want to say, just to kind of piggyback off of your College Corner stuff, we do have a lot of content planned. And if any of you watching this right now are like me, we've got a lot of stuff coming soon for the casual fan when it comes to college football. So if you're looking to get into it a little bit more like these two knuckleheads, if you want to be a nerd, just kidding, we'll have some information, at least storylines for you to follow, and more to come. So without further ado, we'll get into the AFC South standings predictions, or schedule predictions, Now, I'll have the standings and everything like we did last week, but Matt did a lot of heavy lifting, as he always does, for the research heading into these episodes. So, Matt, why don't you show us what the Colts have for us before we get into the season?
Yeah, the Colts were a weird football team to go back and look at this season. Obviously 8-9, 8-2 at the bye week. They were 9th in total offensive EPA for the rest of the season, 2nd at that bye week, 10th overall, 2nd at that bye week. So again, like, this was one of the 2 best teams on the offensive side of the ball over the course of over half the season. So again, like, if there is kind of a fluky Colts run, it was a deep enough run to not feel fluky enough. Their defense wasn't great, even if they did spend pretty good on that side of the ball going into last year. They didn't make any significant coaching changes or GM changes because of the great start, but they did extend Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones to monster contracts for those players, in my opinion. They swapped Kobe Wooden for Zaire Franklin, so linebacker for depth D-tackle. So, I mean, that was something they valued. Free agency, they didn't really make any big splashes. I know they tried really hard to get Trey Hendrickson, but a Max Crosby trade rescinded here. Ravens need a pass rusher there, and they end up with Michael Clemens. So, great. They go out and also sign Arden Key, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Jonathan Owens, just some depth signings. Their biggest departures probably was Michael Pittman, trading him to Pittsburgh, but I think there's a complete swap there with Josh Downs coming in and assuming a bigger role. But Nick Cross, Jermaine Pratt, and I sent this to you guys in the chat. Like, I love it when teams are easy on me. They lost a major safety hole. They lost a major linebacker hole, and they drafted a linebacker and a safety in day 2 of the draft. So I assume those guys are going to play pretty healthy roles starting early in the season. Jalen Farmer and Bryce Betcher in round 4 with 4 more day 3 selections. The remaining questions that I had. Daniel Jones, the easiest one, the layup one, is Daniel Jones still going to play at the level, and maybe not as one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football, but a completely passable quarterback somewhere in the CJ Stroud, Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield range that we ranked like that tier 4, like that good enough to compete range. Can he still perform at that level? I don't know, but that was a softball question I had to throw on here, even if it isn't really a fascinating talking point. Sauce Gardner, Alec Pierce. They traded 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. He's the second highest paid corner. He's also the 12th highest paid defensive player. He played 4 games for them and didn't have a single interception and had 1 pass defense. So again, like he needs to play better. And now that Alec Pierce is being paid as a top 15 receiver, which is still insane to think about, he's never caught 50 balls in his career, like in a single season. So that is another step-up point that they're going to have to look at. And then I don't like looking at injuries when I forecast these questions, but I have some notes here on the Colts. Like, their offensive line is returning 4 out of their 5 starters. All 4 of those offensive line starters played 87% of the snaps or more. Jonathan Taylor played 82% of the snaps last season and had like an almost career year compared to 2021. And Taylor in 2021 had 372 touches. This most recent season, he had 369, so 3 touches off. The very next season after that season in 2021, he only played 11 games. So, again, that running back curse of like when you reach, I think it's like 320-something touches over the course of a season, the next season you are more likely to have like an injury-riddled season. So that's
to be heard or just flat out kind of not put up the same. Like, it's not even necessarily like injury. It's just like when you hit that 320 mark, like you're just kind of, I don't want to say destined, but like chances are you're just not going to necessarily have a great year just because of the workload that you're coming off of. Like, I mean, history will show, but didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, and that's the best way to put it. You're just a higher likelihood. And this team was completely revolved around their run game because, like, you could go through any Colts stat from that Week 11 bye. They were first by, like, a mile. There was a stretch there. I remember it was right after the Falcons game, which I don't think led into the bye. I think the Steelers game was after, and that was a bad loss. But they were, like, first in rush EPA, and like the difference between second and I think it was like 7th or 8th was the same difference between them at first and the team at second, whoever that was. I can't remember, but like that was middle of the season, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's how good they were and how dependent they are on the run game. So again, like, Quentin Nelson's down for a month, with a bicep strain, something like that. That's a big deal for this team. So I just wanted to put it in there. But does anybody want to tackle anything with the Colts?
Yeah, I guess I have a take, regarding the Colts and their overall situation. I've, at least for the past, 5-6 years, I'm surprised Chris Ballard still has a job, just to be flat out honest with you. With the way that the Colts have been looking, it's really kind of gross, their quarterback situation, their draft situation. They're not... I'm not sold on any of these guys. And when it comes to Alec Pierce, the big story, after the offseason and after his signing was, holy cow, first off, wide receiver market is just insane. Because a guy like him, who I mean, maybe I'm just not seeing what they are, which whatever. I I don't like to put a ceiling on young guys like him, but at the same exact time, I'm going to, because I don't see him being the star player that they paid him to be. It's not, maybe not my kind of receiver or what, but I'm just not seeing it. Now, he did catch that like crazy 65-yard bomb from Anthony Richardson that one time. Cool, good job. But like, my thing is like, you traded Michael Pittman away, which also wasn't a good piece. Now you're paying Daniel Jones $44 million a year. Now, I'm pretty sure the structure of that contract is a little weird. Like, they can somehow get out of paying him that crazy amount guaranteed. If something happens, maybe. But like, I don't know about you guys, but there's a few guys on this team to where it's like they're pushing their chips in, and I think it's kind of bold. I mean, you look at all these different success rates that you have on the left-hand side of the screen. That run game, like you had said, is something they very much depend on. Now, something else I have to kind of question, and maybe this is something we could tackle as we get closer to the season, is what did these numbers look like when Daniel Jones was on the field? Because maybe it's a little skewed because he went down with an Achilles injury. We're talking halfway through the season too. So, Daniel Jones was playing at a very high level as well. I mean, we were talking MVP candidate last season, right? And so, you look at it, I mean, is he still at the level that he was pre-Achilles? I highly doubt it, because it takes a very special kind of play to be able to get to where he was for the first half of the season. But I mean, looking at it, the one key addition that I think Chris Ballard has made is, trading for Sauce Gardner. However, this team isn't good enough to be trading away that many first round picks. So now you just salvaged your future for this one player. And it just doesn't really make very much sense for me. And it's like, how hot is this guy's seat? Because it's been hot for the last 3 to 4 years. Like, you had Phillip Rivers come in for the second time in your tenure. Like, when does it end in Indy? I don't know. Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, well, I kind of just want to add to that Alec Pierce point though. Like, I think Alec Pierce is like the perfect like spokesperson of like this weird like field stretching wide receiver market that has kind of emerged, and like we could all look at that Alec Pierce contract and be like, yikes, like that was a bit of like, but like at this point in time, like that's kind of what like these like second year or second contract like field stretcher wide receivers are going for, right? He's not the only one that we're looking at that and saying like that's a rough contract. He's making $28.5 million. Christian Watson's making $23 million. Jameson Williams is making $26.5 million. So like it's we can like it or not like it, right? But that's just kind of what these guys are going for. So your other option is what? Have no one? like it's just Josh Downs, and I love Josh Downs, but like he has yet to take that leap, and obviously we all hope that he can get there, and we'll kind of get into that in my next point. We're adding a little segment here before we get into that. But like that's just kind of what these wide receivers are going for now. And that's just what the market is going to call for. So we cannot like it or like it, but that's just, I think, this kind of what these field stretchers have carved out in terms of what they're going to get per year towards a contract. That leads me into a point that we kind of wanted to add based off of last week's episode. We said, hey, we should probably add a little bit more. We want to add a little tidbit per team, breakout players. Matt, if I'm stealing your guy, I apologize. I have two. I have one on the offensive side of the ball. I have one on the defensive side of the ball. First one is Josh Downs. Again, if I stole it, I apologize. Simply because I just think he's fun, but he's going to be stepping into a much, much bigger role, and he's going to be asked to do a lot more here, right? And obviously I'm not going to predict a JSN leap, but like it's something along that same trajectory. The other one I have is Latu. Latu's going into year 3. He finished the final 4 games with 3 sacks. He's developing. We've seen it. I think this will maybe be the year that like he might be able to break 10 sacks. And he was never projected as like this amazing like sack getter, as a prospect. But I think this will hopefully be the year for him. So those are kind of my 2 breakout guys. Matt, was Josh Downs your guy?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to the point you made about the uptick in role, and just I feel like he is much more fit to be like a move around piece, working off the ball, working in the slot. I feel more so than even like Pittman. So I think like there is a target volume that he could get that even like Pittman, who was very successful for many years with the Colts, didn't even achieve. But no, I'm completely on the Josh Downs hype train this year. I think he leads this team in yards, honestly. Like, and that's with Warren, that's with Alec Pierce coming back on the massive deal. I do think he's someone, if we can get a healthy 17 games, I really think he could be primed to have like a 1,200-yard season.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have one to add just because Latu is going to be my guy. I don't know if I'm quite sold on Downs yet. And reason being, like, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe it, which sounds so bad. I don't know.
Is it
If
kind of like
anybody's going
you
to
saw it with Pittman, to where like Pittman was so steady, it's hard to see someone like stepping into that kind of
listen,
thing?
I've got a thought in my brain, and it might just be because I'm tired, and I just might be entirely wrong on different kinds of receivers. So if I am, call me out on it, and I'll look like an idiot, and I'm cool with that. I see Romeo Doubs as the ceiling.
He's a good player.
I think he's average, maybe slightly above.
High end wide receiver too. I
Sure,
could see that being
yeah.
a possibility.
I don't see Alec Pierce as somebody that's going to be much better than that either, though. That's the thing. So it's like, I mean, I hate to throw this back to previous conversations that we've had, but like, wide receiver rooms, like, and it's not, I would argue that Green Bay's is much better than this, and that says something because I really hate Green Bay's wide receiver room as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like looking at their depth chart, like what happens if Josh Downs misses some more time? What happens if Alec Pierce happens to get injured? You know what I mean? Like, these are things that you have to talk about. And when your next few guys have never surpassed, 500 yards in a season, like these are not reliable options for you, in my opinion.
No, sure.
And, and I'm just thinking, it is kind of crazy, whatever. But I'm just not sold on the receivers. I'm not sold on either one of the quarterbacks, no matter who's playing. And we added what we did about Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah. I want to get to that comment there.
Gavis, stick around.
Yeah.
We're the Titans are our last team. You caught us right as we're doing. Titans are our last team, so stick around, buddy.
Yes, we just started the Colts, so we will get to your Titans, I promise you. Former Lions fan, though. What a switch to go to Tennessee. That's pretty cool. Anyways,
ready for the schedule?
Yes, yeah.
Let's
Do you
do it.
have the odds just like last week as well?
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering. Hold on, let me guess. 8.5. 8.5, 7.5. Ah, okay. Okay. I'm pretty good at this. All right, whatever.
Guys, we'll talk about it once I do my schedule stuff. I'm right on it with Vegas. It's absurd. I don't think I like that I'm this close with Vegas. I was within a game last week of Vegas, and let's just say I'm very close within Vegas here, and I don't like that. I don't know how to feel about that.
Division. Okay. Plus 380, but third in the division for best to win it. I mean, that tells you where Vegas has them. That's crazy. Should we go 4 at a time then?
Yeah.
All right. They're not winning a single game on the top row. 0-4 to start it.
Oh,
Well,
It is a rough open. To open it again, to open like your first 3 games being the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Texans is very difficult. Why is what's that read about? Oh, and then
they're playing in London.
London.
Yeah.
So
hey, arguably though, wouldn't you rather get them out of the way early and then I don't know.
I think there's something to like having a good start to the season to get a good outlook. Anyways, Matt, what do your first 4 games look like?
I have them beating Baltimore, losing to Kansas City, beating Houston, and beating Washington.
Oh!
So 3-1 to start?
Wow. Okay, sure. I have them losing the first 3 and then beating the Commanders.
Okay. Next ones, I have the Colts. They will beat the Steelers, lose the rest. So that moves them
1-7.
1-7 to start. Yeah.
Yikes.
Actually,
still coaching.
Oh, actually, yeah. No, I'm staying. Steichen, however, is on the hot seat at this point.
If that's hot seat, I mean, if you're hot seat going into the year, brother, 1-7 is not doing you justice.
We'll talk after week 9.
That's right, Jeff Saturday. Bring him in.
Oh my God! Fire everybody into the sun.
Yeah, I have them basically just winning the one home game of this stretch, losing all the rest. So they'll lose to Pittsburgh, beat Tennessee, and then lose to Minnesota and Jacksonville.
So 4-4.
Isn't that stat still going? Like, they lose to Jacksonville in Jacksonville every year. Remember that was a thing? Is that still going? Oh my god, that's gonna kill me. Remember that was a thing.
I have them going back and forth. So I have them losing to the Steelers, beating the Titans, losing to the Vikings, beating the Jags, 3-5 through the first 8.
I have them losing to Dallas. Everybody gets fired. Feel good moment for the locker room. We get some change. They're gonna beat Miami. Then they just get killed by Houston, and then I have them losing to New York as well. So yeah, they are 2-10.
Hate this team.
Yeah,
don't like it.
I had to find it. The Colts have not beaten the Jaguars in Jacksonville since 2014. That is still a stretch going. Didn't know
it's
that.
Changing this year.
Oh, that's really funny. That's so silly. No, but I have them losing to Dallas, beating the Dolphins that I predicted on the last Dolphins, losing to the Texans, and then beating the Giants. So I don't know.
6-6.
6-6. The bye? Yeah, that's
yes.
That puts them
nice. I have them the back and forth here again. Losing to the Cowboys, beating the Dolphins, losing to the Texans, beating the Giants. So I have them at 5-7.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm just gonna finish this off here.
Yep.
They're losing out.
Jesus. So you have them going 2-15.
Yeah. They're competing.
So you're just out. You just say to hell with Daniel Jones.
Okay. Yeah. Before we get into anything, 2-15. Why?
Gentlemen, there will be a second Manning playing for Indy next year.
Oh, you're buying that. Okay. You're doing a narrative thing. Okay.
No, to be honest with you, I just kind of like thought of that just now. So, but yeah, sure.
Oh gosh.
No, but I'm fascinated. Why is
yeah? Why are you so low? Why
this is the same team. What I'm saying is like this is pretty much the same team last year going into that week 11 bye. They're 8-2. Vibes are high. Is this just Daniel Jones's ultimate pumpkin turning into? Is it Is it the injury luck going against them? Is it the defense isn't as good? Like, I just want to hear you talk it out because that is a massive switch from where they were at their peak last year.
Yeah. So Daniel Jones, I project to be a lot like his normal self this time around. We're gonna be talking about Anthony Richardson again. Maybe he plays in a couple games. Jonathan Taylor, as you said, I'm going off of the prediction that he is not as productive as he was last season. I'm not high on either one of the two big receivers that they have and are banking on. I think the defense got significantly worse. I'm not a fan. I don't like their draft. I think the coach stinks. I hate the front office. At some point, do you think, oh, wait, hold on a minute. They don't have their first round draft pick next year.
Nope.
So New York, there you go. But this is where Colts fans are wanting to jump off a cliff here. This is not fun. They're not in a good position, and I really hate this team.
I hope this happens because this means my bold prediction from last year would be correct, because last year my bold prediction for the Colts was that in 26-27 Riley Leonard was going to be their starting quarterback.
Dude, yeah. And I'm kind of here for it. I want to see what the kids got.
Here
to
we
be
are.
Flat on honest. No, listen, I'll be entirely honest. And it's just because, why not, right? If Daniel Jones sucks when he comes back, and Anthony Richardson is just definitely, they've been trying to trade this guy for months now. Nobody wants this guy. Why not see what Riley Leonard's got? Why not?
If they're this bad, sure. I don't think
that's
they're
what I'm
be
saying.
This bad. So
let's finish it out.
I'll make it easy. This is so funny. I didn't do this on purpose. I have them going back, and I'm just realized I literally have them going back and forth since week 3. They just flipped back and forth. I literally just realized this. So I have them losing to the Eagles, beating the Titans, losing to the Bengals, beating the Browns, losing to the Jags, finishing the season at 7-10. It's not a bad season for them. A slight step down from where they were at just a year ago. I don't think they're an awful team by any means. The injury stuff concerns me, again, as we talked about with Jonathan Taylor. I have to see where Daniel Jones is going to be. But I don't have them as this atrocious team in which their pick is going to be a top 2 pick and the Jets are going to be selecting the first and second overall, which that would be so much fun. But anyways, 7-10.
Matt, go ahead and finish yours, and then I've got something to add to this really quick.
I have them beating Philly. I have them losing to Tennessee, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, and then beating the Jaguars, ending 8-9. So exact same as they were this season. I think it's very similar to the team they have from last season. Probably not going to reach the peak that they did last year, being one of the 2 best offenses. But I still see them as clearly a 15-19 range team, just because it's so similar to what it was last year.
So this morning, this is what I have to add. Okay, hold on, really quick recap. I went 2-15. Ben went 7-10. Matt went 8-9 for your Indianapolis Colts.
I'm looking up odds on can I find under 2.5 wins for you? Because that's fun, dude.
Yeah. This morning I was half asleep, but decided to do all 4 teams in the AFC South and just look at their schedule. And this is what I thought at 9:34 a.m., okay? Game by game. They lose the top 4, so Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, and Washington. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Tennessee. They lose to Minnesota, lose to Jacksonville. They lose to Dallas. They beat Miami. They lose to Houston. They beat New York. They lose to the Eagles, lose to the Titans, and then win out. So I had them at 7-10 in that situation. Here's the thing. The main difference is I'm looking at all of the research that you did, and I'm going to kind of pull that back up just to pop it back up on the screen. Guys, this is why Matt is such a valuable one of the many reasons as to why Matt is such a valuable part of our three guys here. This illustration and their success rates and their EPA and everything there, illustrating all of that completely changed it in such a big way that I took away 5 wins off of the list. Considering other teams,
you also have to think, like, especially for the defensive win rates and how they're all like 24th, 30th, 25th. A lot of that you hope to be fixed by just having a healthy Sauce Gardner. Like that's the reason they went out and traded for Sauce Gardner in the first place. Anyways.
Yeah,
okay, that doesn't make your defensive line play better.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Of course not. But I would argue it in theory does, but
I don't think that helps as much as you're hyping it up to be, in my opinion. But
I didn't say it was going to make it a top 5 unit. I'm just saying that it helps with that.
Yeah. Listen, the bar is very low, so if they get better because Sauce is on there for a full season, sure. But like, I'm just saying, like, this team, you said it, they're practically the same team, right? My biggest thing is, like, okay, so they lost Nick Cross. They lost Jermaine Pratt. He's still a free agent. Lost Kwity Paye. Yeah, lost Kenny Moore. Now, here's the thing. Like I said before, I don't like their draft. I really don't. Mm-hmm. And I think this GM is just such a freaking moron to where, like, this guy should have been canned a long time ago. This head coach should have been gone probably at the end of last year. Like, I know that they're pushing their chips in on a MVP candidate last season, but look at his track record. Like, I'm still not sold on it. The guy tore his Achilles. How many quarterbacks come back from a torn Achilles and play at a very high level that weren't elite previously? Like, this is one guy that had one good season in a stretch of how many seasons? And it's like, now he tears his Achilles, and what do we have to show for it? And in my opinion, the defense just got worse. And so looking at all of those, I'm sorry, I'm taking other teams instead. And
you're good.
It's tough, but I don't know. We'll get to other teams though.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the thing. I love talking these things out. Nobody is ever wrong on any prediction. I said the Seahawks and Patriots would win 6 games each, and they played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But, like, I think I just wanted to hear you talk it out because, again, my consumption of this team all offseason has been, well, it's the same team. That kind of limits the ceiling but keeps the floor, where you're saying, like, the floor is as low as it was over the back half because, like, they didn't win a game after that bye week. So again, there is a theory that could happen. So I just like talking it out.
I wanna bring this out one more time and just ask you guys a question because I basically already answered it on my side. What do you guys think the ceiling and the floor is for this team?
I think the floor is probably 5-6 wins. I'm still pretty bullish on just like. I think they have adequate skill player talent that they could put any quarterback in there, and I think they would be enough. And then their ceiling is probably 9 wins for me, where it's like barely squeaking playoffs. Like I don't see a playoff berth in their future, especially in the AFC, even if it is this weird crowded. It's more so the division. Like I think the 2 other teams above them are that much better, even if I do have them splitting with each of those teams. Like weird things happen in the division all the time. I think those teams are going to win a ton more games than them. So that's kind of where I'm at. I lean more towards their ceiling at 8 wins compared to the 9 I just said. But no, I think the floor is still pretty serviceable.
Ben, are you okay? All right. We can move on now. Sorry, pushed that a little too long.
No, that's great.
Oh, you're fine.
We did say it was going to be a longer show.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yes.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Let's
bring in the
do you want to do
juice.
Jags?
I say,
Yeah.
here's the thing. We have a Titans fan, and I know that I said that, hey, this should be the order. I say, why make them wait? Let's bring up the Titans, and then we'll push the other teams back.
He might be better off waiting. Let's just be honest with you. I'm just kidding.
Somebody's not a fan of the Titans, apparently.
No, which is like, what a leap. I remember 2 years ago,
All right.
I'm like, Titans and Bears, nah?
Yeah.
So, anyways.
All right, I buffered. What did you guys say?
We're doing the Titans. Let's do the Titans.
All right. Let's do the Titans. The Tennessee Titans last year, bottom of the barrel, 3-14 in the division. Just one of the worst offenses in football. Cam Ward was one of the bottom 3 quarterbacks in football by most metrics, and the defense was also very bad. They were also very not healthy, and they also didn't have a lot of good players. I don't know what I saw in this team. What was I doing last year? So, like, this is one of those things where I'm, like, taking a step back, trying to learn from my past. I said this team could win 7-8 games last year. I don't know what it was. Yeah, again, I think it was the Daniels juice. I was just drinking the Jaden Daniels Kool-Aid. I just saw a rookie do this. He could do it. But they make massive changes across coaching staff. Robert Saleh, hired from San Francisco, Brian Dable, and Gus Bradley follows Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, the best case scenario for him is he becomes Mike Vrabel, right? And this team knows what Mike Vrabel does. So going from Brian Callahan to Robert Saleh, they're just chasing the former ex, I think, in my opinion. They kept Jeffrey Simmons, the best defensive tackle in football, no matter what ESPN says, calling him the second, on a major extension. Calvin Ridley kind of on a little revised 2-year contract to keep him in the building, but more so to give them flexibility next offseason if they want to cut him or trade him. Their trade, Jermaine Johnson for T'Vondre Sweat. I think T'Vondre Sweat is a much better player at this point, post Achilles tear for Jermaine Johnson, but they needed edge rush depth. So I do understand why they make the trade. And then they also brought in Solomon Thomas. He was on the Jets defensive line with Robert Saleh in 2023, so just former guy they know. They, in free agency, signed 4 players, $15 million annually or more for multiple years. Do you guys know how many other of the 31 teams signed more than 2 players with that? $15 million a year, 1+ years. Nobody else did that. So again,
the Panthers didn't do that?
No, Devin Lloyd was 14.5, I believe. So
okay.
You get
sure, yeah.
You get the tech, yes. But no, and that's the thing is I stare at those players and I go, that's a lot of money tied into 4 players. That again, like I think John Franklin-Myers is a good player. He's 30, right? Alontae Taylor, you're taking him from nickel to outside corner. I've seen him play outside corner for the Saints. I don't know. Cordell Flat isn't a good player. Like I'm convinced on that. He's not a good player. So like they spent a lot of money on this roster, and again, we'll see. They lost, but this is where it is big. Bringing in competency to lose, like Lloyd Cushenberry was not a good center. Kevin Zeitler can still come back. I put a question mark next to him. He lives in Nashville, could still come back if he wants to play another year. There's still a hole at right guard. So again, that could be one of those things where he's skipping out on all the offseason programming. He comes in July, and he's a July signing. Darrell Baker was not a good player. Chiga Okonkwo was kind of probably the big name on this list that people would flock to, but again, he is a very hyper-specific tight end, and I think Gunnar Helm was a better player, just in terms of like what you're asking a tight end in this 12 personnel kind of world to do. I think Gunnar Helm is a better long-term answer, and he's on 3 years of cheap money. Their draft, they shocked everybody, taking Carnell Tate at number 4. Keldrick Falk, they traded back into the first round to get him. Anthony Hill, they traded back into round 2 to get him. So again, this is Robert Saleh going and getting some juice on the defensive side of the ball in that front 7. And then Nick Singleton in the 5th round. So that's a fascinating throw in there because again, this running back room does not have juice. Tyjae Spears has not been advertised like that, and Tony Pollard is kind of hitting the end of his, running back career. If you think about it, I think he's approaching 30. So again, that's just a little wild card thrown in that room. And then the questions, again, just like the Colts, it's a layup. Cam Ward, year 2, what's he going to look like? Can he be good? It's the same thing that every year we do this with these year 2 quarterbacks. This is where we hope the leap happens. Maybe the leap doesn't quite happen similar to Drake May, but I think more in the similar vein of Caleb Williams. Maybe not to the extent of winning playoff games and being this like uber clutch factor, but just being better down to down and avoiding sacks at the highest rate in football, just being a better player, seeing natural improvement year to year. That's all I want to see out of these year 2 quarterbacks sometimes. And then the other question, do major additions on the defensive side of the ball spell a top 16 unit? We did this with the Jets, where the Jets are bringing in competency, they're bringing in, just adults in the room. The difference between the Jets defense and the Titans defense, ironically, is the Titans still have one of their difference makers in terms of Jeffrey Simmons, a truly build around the defense type player, and that is where I think top 16 units are made on that side of the ball. When you have a true dominating force, especially on the defensive line, you can create a great defense. And so I'm interested to see if this team can tap into that. Robert Saleh, I have some numbers here. Robert Saleh, ironically enough, he's never been really bad on that side of the ball until this season with a ton of rookies. Fred Warner and Nick Bosa get hurt in the first 6 weeks of the season. Their rankings by EPA per play since 2019 when they made the Super Bowl, 3rd, 8th, his first year with the Jets, 32nd, so that's his only real bad blemish year. 2022 is when they brought in the Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson draft. They were 11th, then 3rd, 6th in his 5 games before he's fired after the London game, and then 14th last year with mostly made up of rookies. So again, Robert Saleh's not bad at this. He's never bad on that side of the ball, and so that is where I am kind of projecting. I think this defense could make up of a pretty good unit, especially surrounding Jeffrey Simmons, who is playing at the highest level of his career. So, do you guys have anything to add on the Titans, or talking about my questions?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the bald coaching staff. This is great. I like the free agency that they had. I like the trades that they made. Kept Jeffrey Simmons and Calvin Ridley. Is there? I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is stupid, but is there anybody advocating to call Cam Ward and Carnell Tate the Teen Titans? That would be pretty cool.
Movement.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. But I'm a fan of it. I think that there's a good supporting cast to start growing around Cam Ward, because last year it was kind of rough. But not only that, did they brought in okay, here's a good defensive coach as our head coach. Let's go ahead and see who we can bring in as an offensive coordinator. Oh, hey, look, now here's a good offensive play caller who's historically known as being a good offensive coordinator. I can't stress this enough. And then to bring in Gus Bradley from San Francisco as well, just to tag along from Robert Saleh.
That's just someone that he knows Robert Saleh. They kind of just work.
Someone familiar with it.
No, exactly. Point being is that they're doing it right. This is good, and they're trending in a right direction. So for the Titans, and I promise you, I'm not just hey, there's a Titans fan that commented. Let's be nice to him. We were not very nice to a Seahawks fan last year, and let's see what happens. So, looking at that, I genuinely, man, I really like the direction in which this team is headed. And we'll see how it goes. Cam Ward, lots of flashes last year. But top 16 unit, I think there's definitely potential. And I'm excited for Robert Saleh to get a head start on a team that isn't the Jets, because I feel like he had potential back then to really be a good head coach in this league. And people are going to look back at it and be like, dude, the Jets just might be cursed. But Yeah, Ben, anything?
Yeah. No. I think you guys covered it. I'll go last on the breakout players because I just have like so many. So I'm not worried that you guys are going to take the person I want to talk about because there's like 5 guys on this roster that like I'm sure Matt could like probably snipe 3 of them just because he knows me quite well. But I digress. There's so many under the radar guys on this roster that I'm in love with. You guys go first. Ryan,
Yeah,
who's
I
your
guess
under
I
the
can go
radar guy
first.
for the
Yeah.
Titans?
Okay. Dare I say under the radar? Maybe not, but like, okay, Calvin Ridley. I mean, getting him some other factors in the offense, I think could make a little bit more noise than what he has been. Carnell Tate's gonna explode. You know what I mean? That's just so obvious. Cam Ward gonna be awesome. And then I'll throw Alontae Taylor in there too. I like him. Matt, I know you're familiar.
We'll see
with
on that one.
Maybe don't, but yeah.
My breakout player, I would bet Gunnar Helm. I think he just gets more of a volume uptick this season. He was someone that, again, I think down the stretch of the season was playing better football than Chikakonkwo, and now they have set up the room to where he is going to be, I think, the focal point of it. And Daniel Bellinger is kind of an ancillary piece, even if he's making $8 million a year. But no, I'm pretty bullish on what Gunnar Helm can be, and hook 'em horns.
Yeah, I was gonna say shocker, the Texas guy picking the Texas player, right? Very quickly, like the 3 guys that like worth mentioning, just to like lob names in there. Again, to like none of Matt's surprise on any of these 3 guys, all second-year players that I was in love with in the draft. So I'm going to lob them in there. It's Kevin Winston Jr.,
Yep.
Olawafemi Oladejo, and then Alec Ayumanor. All guys that I'm absolutely in love with. Kevin just had another year in the system. You get a defensive guy. You build a good rotation for Femi, and then you just are going into year 2 with a good connection with Cam Ward for Ayumanor. But the 2 guys that I think are really worth mentioning here, a part of the breakout, is Cedric Gray and Anthony Hill, simply because it seems like every linebacker that Saleh touches just turns into gold. He just has a history of being able to just like churn out these linebackers and do very, very good things with them. We've seen it with Quincy. We've seen it with Fred Warner. We've seen it with Al Shire, Dre Greenlaw. So he just has a history of being able to churn out very, very, very good linebackers. Cedric Gray, I loved him coming out. He's now going to be starting. As we talked about, there's so many like positive additions that they have added on defense that will hopefully just make his job a lot easier going into year 3. And then Anthony Hill, he has, if you guys want to hear us talk about it, go find the linebacker episode, right, from the draft. But like he has all the upside that you could possibly want from a linebacker. It was just a matter of like, can he go to the right spot and go to a place where he can develop and figure it out? And there's very, very, very few better places for a linebacker to go than right here. So those are going to be the 2 guys that I think are really worth mentioning.
Yeah, my one thing to throw in there on Cedric Gray, he's already an excellent player. So like that's again why, like he doesn't come to me. Like again, I know they're not everything, but PFF run grade is something that I like for the second level of the defense, for your, tacklers in the secondary. Cedric Gray had the second highest PFF run grade behind only Jack Campbell, who just got paid as the highest paid linebacker in football, and he was in year 2. And he played almost 400 rundown snaps. So again, Cedric Gray to me is already like one of the 15 best linebackers. But again, like if there is another ascension in there where he becomes like similar to what you just mentioned with a Greenlaw, Al Shire, or Warner, yeah, this is what will make the defense go, having him along with like a Simmons and even like Anthony Hill developing down the line. So pretty excited for what they could look like. But
Yeah.
let's bring on the schedule. Let me find it here.
Let's.
There we go. There is the schedule. Their odds, they're sitting right at that 6.5 total. Kind of even money on both sides. A little bit of the juice to the under. By far fourth in the division, 12th in the conference. I think only the Browns, Jets, Dolphins, and one more I'm probably missing. I can't think of it. Are lower than them, and then 130-1 to win the Super Bowl, similar to probably the Patriots last year. So, again, you want something crazy, Super Bowl is there. But who wants to start out first? The gray.
start.
Do we want
is
to
the
go?
home games.
Do we want to go top 2 rows? By the way, just like 2, 2, 2. I think is the best way to chunk this up.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can.
Worth.
All right, so I have them beating the Jets, losing to the Eagles, beating the Giants, and then losing the next 2 to the Ravens and Texans. And then I have them beating the Colts. So let's see, 3-3.
I am
Huge.
I will have them lose to the Jets, lose to the Eagles, lose to the Giants, lose to the Ravens, lose to the Texans, lose to the Colts.
Who scarred you, dude?
1-5. Did I count that right? 1-5.
0-6.
Oh,
0-6.
oh, okay, my bad.
Yep.
Yeah,
I missed the
so-
Jets. Yeah.
I'll make it nice and easy. I have them beating the Jets and the Giants here, losing the rest, starting out the season 2-4. Their head is spinning. The world is on fire. Everyone's saying Cam Ward is bad. What happened to this defense? We were supposed to add all these good players. What in the world happened? Everyone's up in arms at this point through the first 6 weeks of the season. The Titans.
For my next 6 weeks, I have them beating the Browns, beating the Bengals. Then let's see. I think I had them splitting with Jacksonville. And then losing to Dallas. So 3-2 in that stretch.
Okay.
I have them beating Cleveland, losing to Cincinnati, bye week, beating the Jags off the bye week, losing to the Cowboys, and then losing to the Jags on the second one.
2-3
on that stretch. Then.
Yep.
Nice.
All
I have
right.
them losing to the Browns but beating the Bengals, losing to the Jags, and then beating both the Cowboys and the Jags on the road. So I have them going 3-2 in this stretch, 5 and
6.
6 through the first 11.
And then to finish off the season, I have them losing to the Commanders, losing to Detroit, beating the Colts, beating the Raiders, losing to the Steelers, losing to the Texans. They will finish 8-9.
Yeah, the rest of here, I just have pick the home team. Beat the Commanders, lose to the Lions, beat the Colts, lose to the Raiders, beat the Steelers, lose to the Texans for the second time in the season, finishing a 5-12.
Nice.
Okay.
I have them losing to the Commanders, beating the Lions, losing to the Colts, beating the Raiders, losing their final 2 to the Steelers and Texans, putting them at 6-12, continuing my streak within a game of Vegas. What is going on? You cannot make this up here, folks. Which is like fun for this team in the way that I like projected it, because at the end of this year, you know, you're the Titans, and like you can, based off of the way I have stuff predicted for them, you can like be sad, like, oh, we only won 6 games, but you can look back on the schedule and be like, okay, but we actually beat some legit teams in the Jaguars and the Bengals and the Cowboys and the Lions, and you can be like, okay, the second half of the season we caught a little bit of our stride, which gives you a really, really fun outlook going into year 3 for the Titans and for Cam Ward. So it'll be interesting. But I have them doubling their wins, so I mean, that's a positive.
Yeah. Yeah, fun. I mean, you guys are much lower on them. I'm much higher. The way that I'm looking at this
How
Titans
many
team
games
is
did you have
kind of
them win?
like I had them 8.
Oh, you only had them
Um,
2 games in front of
yeah.
me.
What I was thinking before I even did any of this was I'm thinking last year's Carolina Panthers, kind of the ascension there, right? But
Sure.
like Cam Ward's a better quarterback, so that's cool. But looking into it, last year's Carolina Panthers finished 8-9 as well. So that's just kind of ironic. But yeah, I'm taking the over on this every day, and I know you guys disagree, but let's do what we did last time. Ceiling floor for this team. What do you got?
I mean, I think the
Ben,
floor
you go
for them is
first.
probably I think the floor for them is probably like 3 wins. The floor is just exactly what it was last year, and the defense is you're just like, well, Jeffrey Simmons is still a very good defensive tackle, but there's nothing else for us on the defense, and that just failed absolutely miserably. The ceiling for them, though, I think is significantly higher for them because you can really talk yourself into, wow, this defense added pieces. It's significantly better. It's a top 16 unit for us. Cam Ward really found his stride in year 2. Cardell Tate is the offensive rookie of the year, with the ceiling probably around the 9 to 10 wins. Again, a lot I think would have to go right for that to happen. But again, I think kind of close to what you were saying when you had mentioned that Panthers team, where you just have a lot kind of go right for you and you feel confident about it.
Yeah, I'll say mine real quick. My floor, I would say, is 4 to 5 wins. It's a tough schedule. I mean, looking at it, it's kind of rough. But ceiling, I'll put it 9 or 10, like you had said. I don't think that's too crazy. So right smack dab there in the middle is the line. So Matt.
Yeah, I would definitely have them as like ceiling is 10-win wildcard team for all the reasons mentioned. Like the defense pops in a real way with a difference maker in Jeffrey Simmons, a difference making play caller in Robert Saleh, and Cam Ward brings the offense up to a level. I think that the floor is still it's a much wider range than the Colts. I think this team could win 3 games. Like I think there's a world where this again it kind of plays into my ranking with them. Like I just don't see how this team is going to be down to down efficient because the offensive line is not good, and being down the field explosive because I don't think they have many explosive pieces outside of like Nick Singleton, who I mentioned, who is a wild card running back 3, Cardell Tate, who is a rookie stepping in. Again, projecting rookies is always hard to do. Like I don't see the ways that this team is going to be either A, brutally efficient, or B, just kind of timely explosive. But again, like I didn't see that with something like Seattle last season. So there's a world where I think they could really pop. But
yeah.
All right.
All done for the Titans. Where do we want to go next?
Jags. I want to finish off with the Texans.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, 13-4. First in the division, they lost in the wild card to Buffalo last year. Their offense, obviously, bringing in Liam Cohen in the manner that they did last season. This weird kind of addition late into the process. They were a top 12 in all of those metrics that I put up there, and mostly down the stretch. This team was incredible. They were the second best passing offense by success rate. They were the third best by EPA, all while being like 25th in rush EPA, which is insane to do. So it's not even like they're setting this off of like play action or anything like that. But more so, I expected the offense to be good. I predicted them in my playoffs last year. The defense was phenomenal. They were top 10 in EPA, 11th in success rate. Trayvon Walker really popped in a major way. Devin Lloyd popped in a major way. He left this offseason. But just their defense last season with this kind of ragtag group of guys was pretty incredible, and give a shout out to their defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile. Their quarterback was top 14 in both EPA and success rate. They didn't make any major coaching changes, and their offseason was kind of just housekeeping, really. I think they just kept their guys. They extended Trayvon Walker for market value. They extended Jacoby Myers in December before the season ended. They extended Cole Van Lannon, who played left tackle down that great stretch in Week 11 on. They extended Brennan Strange very recently for a market value, pretty good extension, even cheaper than someone like Isaiah Likely, who he is better than. Monteric Brown came back in free agency. Dennis Gardeck came back in free agency. They traded for Rukuroro, swapping defensive tackles who do different things. So I thought that was kind of a fun trade where it's like people look at it and go, oh, why are they swapping defensive tackles? Well, they are on the opposite spectrum of defensive tackles. And so they wanted a gap shooting penetrator in Rukuroro. So they're going to see if they can rehabilitate his value. Their free agents were as quiet as, I don't think it's going to be quieter than this. Chris Rodriguez, who is likely their backup running back, and Dane Jackson, who barely played for the Buffalo Bills secondary unit last year. Those were their two free agents I could look at and say, there's a plausibility to them starting. These free agents that I add down here are guys that I project to be starters or contributors. These were the only two that I really could come up with and really squint and say those guys are going to be there. Obviously, their departures, kind of the main ones, are Andrew Wingard in the secondary at safety and Devin Lloyd, their linebacker. Travis Etienne, again, major contributor. I think Bashal Tutin slides right into that role and is fine. I really do. And then Greg Newsome, they kind of had the pieces in place to supplement, because they even traded for him at the deadline, before the deadline, swapping him with the Tyson Campbell contract or whatever. Their draft, very polarizing. Don't look at the consensus rankings on this draft, but I do like Emmanuel Pregnon in round 3. I think he's a player who can play. The only pick that I'm looking at of this list that I was very critical of was the Jalen Husky pick. I think Jalen Husky was not an NFL player, and there were NFL safeties on the board, and you took him in the top 100. So again, that is the one that I am the most critical of. Everybody has found a way to be critical of all of them, so I understand. I'm just not really into that draft business anymore as someone who wants to cover it full time. The remaining questions, I try to be as brief as I can, but this is an interesting team. 13 wins. Yes. They didn't do much. I really wanted to stress these points. Again, I mentioned it. They were the second best passing offense in the league. Is that sustainable? Is that real? I don't know. This is one of the things that I don't think people really understand when talking about Liam Cohen. He doesn't stay in the same place twice. Since 2020 with the Rams, he has not been in the same place for a second consecutive year. So, again, in 2020, he was the assistant quarterbacks coach for the Rams. Then he goes to Kentucky, and he calls plays for Will Levis. Then he goes back to the Rams for 2022, the year after they won the Super Bowl, the year they were 5-12. He was the offensive coordinator there. He then goes back to Kentucky for 2023, and then he goes and be the Bucs play caller, where they pop in a major way, and now he is with the Jags, where they popped last year in a major way. So, again, does Cohen kind of get stale? In a sense, because people pick up on your tendencies. These NFL coaches are amazing at their jobs. So again, they're going to pick up on your tendencies and what you are good at. Does this passing offense kind of take a dip? They also lost their two best run defenders in the second level in Wingard and Lloyd. Does that show up? Again, they were kind of built on stopping the run in the second level, and you see the run stop win rate from ESPN. It was 31st. So their defensive tackle, the defensive line room, was not really shedding along that realm in the run game. So again, they were more a rally and tackle team. That could stay the same, obviously. I think Antonio Johnson was a main piece of that as well, and he's an awesome player.
Yes.
And then this was more of a statement than a question, but there was only two teams who forced 30 takeaways last season. And the other one, I have talked ad nauseum about how they're going to be a regression candidate, and that is the Bears. So I'm going to throw in the Jaguars.
You have to, because when I don't want to say it's a defense built on takeovers, right, or turnovers.
Yeah,
but
it's not built through star talent.
Yes, and we've hammered this point home, as you said, ad nauseum. Like that is not something that is consistent on a year-to-year basis, right? Like you just cannot count on your team to do what you do in terms of the turnover game on a year-to-year basis. So can we be more consistent and not like super reliant on what we do on takeovers? As you said, I mean, for like basically the final 10 weeks of the season, just everything was perfect for them. Um, and I'm interested in like maybe that is the Jaguars. Maybe the Jaguars just are this team that we saw in the final 10 weeks of the season. Um, I I don't know if that's the case though. Like, is this a lightning in the bottle situation? Is this just the Colts? Like, did the Colts swap like right around this time? Whatever magic juju that happened with the Colts went on over to the Jags, and that's what it was. I'm interested, especially to see where you guys are because I found myself in a very odd place when trying to predict this Jaguars schedule because I'm not out on the Jaguars by any mean, but I don't know if I've completely bought in to the final 10 weeks of that Jaguars season there.
Yeah, my biggest question is like it's the run game, man. This team, it's like when it comes to like the receiving room and everything too, like that makes me excited. But then it's like, oh, but then they have to run the ball too. Like that's the thing that they have to do, pretty important. And Tootin and Rodriguez is not doing it for me. Um, I think that Cohen, I mean, he's a good coach. I really do think so. But the additions that they had made as well, and more so the what was I gonna say? Like the way that they were able to keep some players and extend some, like that was cool. Um, Nothing really too flashy in my opinion for the draft. Um, but yeah, I mean it's very much borderline underwhelming for me when looking at this team.
Well, to Matt's point though, like it is like I'm currently looking at their R lads and what like their projected depth chart is for this. There's not a single colored player in their starting lineup. For those who have not, moseyed on over to our lads and taken a look at depth chart, that just means every single player that is projected to start for the Jags, both on offense and on defense, were on this team last year. So there's just not movement. As Matt said, it was just a lot of housekeeping, and like what can we do to keep every guy that we had in the building in the building. And again, if you buy the final 10 weeks, well, then sure, I can absolutely get behind why that's just what you were going to do. We're just going to sustain what we had because, boy, that was an awesome final 10 weeks. But if you're a fan, maybe like Ryan and maybe closer to me, where you're like, I'm not necessarily buying what that final 10 weeks was, then that offseason can become, again, very quickly disappointing.
All right.
My thing like with this team we're not swapping out like 8-win players, right? They won 13 games. So like that's kind of my kind of like argument back, kind of rebuttal to like they just, kind of just kept all their guys. And it's like, yeah, they kept really good players. Like, and exactly. I think there's another internal development, and I want this to lead right into the breakout player. The reason that their draft was not special, Ryan, is because Travis Hunter was traded up for last year, and that is the player that I think that this can take this team from, hey, they're really good, to like special Super Bowl. Like if he is as advertised as a corner, again, he doesn't necessarily have to be the receiver anymore, but he does need to be the corner that we believe he can be because Greg Newsome is out the door. They just don't have enough starting quality corners left. But I think that is a part of this prognosis is that Travis Hunter is the most important addition to this team, even if he was there last year. So I'm really excited to see him play football, especially at corner. And I still stand on the table. He should play a ton of receiver, but they have 3 really good receivers. So if they don't, I get that point as well.
Yeah, I don't really know. Ben, you go ahead and go.
Yeah. So mine's a fun player. It's a running back for him now, but it's not the running back that everyone wants to hype up. Like I do think Michelle Tootin is going to be fun. I think he will probably take what is the lion's share of the carries. Air quoting that because I truly think this will be a running back by committee team, because there's just not like a true standout guy. For that reason, like, my breakout player for the Jags is LaQuint Allen. He was the third down running back, like, pretty much for the majority. Yes. He was the third down running back for pretty much the whole year, just because he was immediately from day one a very, very, very good pass blocker. So he already has that avenue onto the field, because he will be their third down back. You're not going to ask Tootin to be out there pass blocking for you. So he's already going to be on the field for third down. And then again, there's this big chunk, 60% of the plays that need to be filled. And again, partially of that will be filled by Tootin. But I would just be very, very shocked if some of that is also not then further consumed by LaQuint Allen. So he is my breakout player for the Jags.
That's so deep cut, Ben. I love that you did that. He was awesome out of Syracuse. I watched some pass blocking reps of him a few months ago, and it's can I extend him now? I know this is sacrilegious, but this dude is incredible already. So no, I'm with you on that one. That's awesome. Do we want to get into the schedule?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let me cue it up here.
Really, really, really quickly, this guy, he's our Titans fan. Yeah, stay tuned. I think based off of the way that we're doing everything, the Lions, the whole NFC North will be the very last division that we do, so that is 6 weeks away. If you want to stay tuned for that, you absolutely can. Do you guys think the Titans have the ability to go worst to first in this division?
No.
I'm just going to pitch that out there really quickly. I feel okay, good. I just want to make sure we are all on the same page with that. Sorry not to poop in your cereal or anything there, but maybe.
Worst to second.
Maybe worst to second.
Worst to maybe.
Yeah.
Worst to third. Anyways.
All right. So top row, middle row, bottom row.
That much better. Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll start us off. Beat the Browns. Lose the next 2 to the Broncos and Patriots. Beat the Bengals. Lose the next 2 to the Eagles. And actually, wait. No, I was right. Okay. Yeah. Lose the next 2. So
you have them losing both their London games.
Yes.
Heartbreaking.
Wow. Yeah,
2-4 to start
for the London Jaguars.
I will have them. I have them beating the Browns, losing to the Broncos this year, beating the Patriots, beating the Bengals, losing to the Eagles, beating the Texans. So starting 4-2 going into the bye.
I too have them starting 4-2, almost the exact same, but not quite. I have them beating the Browns, losing to the Broncos, beating the Patriots, losing to the Bengals, beating both the Eagles and the Texans. I originally had the Eagles winning this game until this exact moment, and I saw that it was in London. I hate that. London games scare me. So I have them starting out 4-2 as well.
All right, going to the middle
Texans
row.
Game, didn't mean to cut you off. That Texans game is absurd because like the Eagles game, sure, because like both of you are trying to adjust to that time change, but that Texans game now, you have been in London now for a week, so you have like a lot longer of a time to adjust, and
Must
you're not
win.
experiencing,
Yeah.
you're not experiencing that jet lag that the Texans will be. So the fact that it's a in division team that you're playing on that second game in London is like a huge home field advantage for the Jaguars.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I love this Texans defense so much. We'll get into it here in a bit. So bye
We'll get
week,
into it.
bye week, Colts, they will beat the Colts, lose to the Ravens, beat the Titans, beat the Giants, and then lose to the Titans. I think I had them splitting, if I remember correctly, with the Titans. So 1, 2, 3, and 2. So that makes them 5 and 6 to my count.
I have them winning against the Colts in the most obvious game ever. Let's make it 13 years in a row winning in Jacksonville against the Colts. Losing to Baltimore on Thursday night, losing to Tennessee, even coming off that late bye, and then winning the rest. Giants and Titans, splitting with the Titans. So.
All right.
Nice.
So that's 1, 2, 3. 3 and 2. Did I count that right?
Yeah.
All right. Matt's got him at 7 and 4 so far. Ben?
Matt's at 7 and 4. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I'm sorry.
You're
sorry.
good. You're good.
Math. I have them
Yes, I
losing
do.
to the Colts, beating the Ravens, beating the Titans, and then losing to the Giants and Titans. And they're like, what the heck? How did we just lose to those two teams? So I have them going 6 and 5.
All right. And then to finish it off, losing to Chicago, beating Pittsburgh, losing to Houston, losing to Dallas, losing to Washington, beating Indy. So 1, 2, 3. 3 and 3, making them 8 and 9 on the season as well.
Again, this is not a Bears podcast. I am excited to
Bears
see
are a
what your
better
Bears
team.
prediction is. I'm excited to see what your Bears prediction is because of the 5 games that the Bears have like tangentially played in our schedule predictions, they have won all of them. Anyways, so I'm very excited for that to be our last one.
Hold on. Let me put a pause on that for half a second. We've looked at, okay, what, 4 competitive teams out of 8? Like, and 5 of them play the Bears.
Yeah.
Like, 4 competitive teams out of 8 teams that we'll be looking at after this week, and the 5 teams that are competitive, or I'm sorry, the 4 teams that are competitive are the Patriots and Jets. I'm sorry, Patriots, Bills, and then Jaguars and Texans. But the Jaguars play them, and then the entire AFC East. But that's a bad division. So like, I'm sorry. The one that I could maybe push back on is the Patriots for sure. But I promise you, it's not that crazy of a take. Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, let's talk about the Jaguars, please. They will beat the Bears in December. They will beat the Steelers, lose to the Texans, beat the Cowboys, beat the Commanders, and lose to the Colts at the end of the season, finishing 11 and 6.
Nice. All of that to say, I have them losing to the Bears. I have them beating the Steelers, losing to the Texans, beating the Cowboys, losing to the Commanders, beating the Colts. So we're just having a flip-flop there. I have them finishing the season at a cool 9 and 8. Again, I promise this is not a bit. I did not look this up ahead of time. Vegas is on my line. I'm the one who makes it here, guys. 9 and 8.
Okay. All right. So to recap, I have them 8 and 9. Ben has them 9 and 8. Matt has them 11 and 6. Good stuff. Competitors for the division for Matt. That's cool. Ceiling, floor, what do we got?
I think the
Matt, you're
ceiling
the high
is the
man.
exact same as it was last year. I think winning 13 games, winning the division, being a top 3 seed. I still think that is completely on the table if the offense continues to hit this stride. We just watched them hit it, right? Like, so I think there is a world where this offense continues to click and it hits that peak. My floor, honestly, like the defense is weird because again, it's not my cup of tea with the defense where I'm like, I want all the star players on defense. I want,
Yeah.
relying on coaching is always just very risky year to year. But I still would put their floor at the 8 wins mark. I really like 8.5 at minus 125 just because I still think again all the recipe for their defense to be good and their defense is staying the same, but also adding this addition that could be a superstar corner in Travis Hunter. So I really enjoy getting some pretty good value on a line. I would take them to win the conference. I think they're still a top 5 team in this conference. 15-1 I think is great value.
Sure. Yeah, I think 13, as you said, 13 wins, well within the possibility for them. I think it is very, very hard to be like, this team is just going to bottom out and they're going to win 2 games this year just because of the talent that they do have on offense. I mean, like, worst case scenario, again, the defense is just absolutely atrocious. Trevor Lawrence is just like, he just has one of those years. Just like everything is just awful. Worst case scenario, like 6 wins probably. So yeah, I anywhere between like 6 to 13.
I'm thinking 6 to 11, in my opinion. That's where I'm at on this team.
My thing is, we just saw them win 13 games with literally this roster right here. Again, like basically nothing has changed aside from Achan leaving. Is Achan worth like really that much to you?
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's how we get to our point. I lean definitely more closer to Matt in terms of that point there. I don't think he's that big of a difference that you can't just fill him by running back by committee. But that's how we get where we are here. So,
All right. So that'll do it for the Jags. Let's go ahead and bring up our last team.
Yep. Let's bring up the Houston Texans. Last season, 12-5, second in the division. They won a playoff game against Pittsburgh, but lost in the divisional round to New England. Their offensive EPA 24th, success rate 28th. They were just an abysmal up-front team. Their front 5 was awful. Everybody knew it. We knew it going into the season. I remember we did something they were 0-2, and we were like, oh, the 0-2 teams, who's going to be good? And Ben was pretty upfront. He was like, I don't care about the offensive line. Defense is too good. They're still going to make the playoffs, and they did. And they won a playoff game. So it's just still one of those things that, again, the defense, second in EPA, third in success rate, they are just an overwhelming force. They are so good that they can just overcome what this offense can even struggle with, which is still being a bottom 10 unit. CJ Stroud, pretty solid, metric numbers, 12th in EPA, 18th in success rate. But overall, it was just mostly that run game that just plummeted them. And most of his games were played with Nico Collins healthy. So I think that was a positive for him. They didn't make any coaching changes. And they, again, similar to Jacksonville, they just did a lot of housekeeping on a 12-win team. Extended Will Anderson at market value. Extended Danielle Hunter another season. Revised a Nico Collins contract, which pretty much gives him a raise. It didn't really, affect long-term, contract years or anything. It just made him a higher paid receiver. So good on him. Azeez Al-Shaair got an extension. Dalton Schultz brought back Ed Ingram, Sheldon Rankins, EJ Speed, Kaimi Fairbairn, their kicker as well. The big moves that they really made were shoring up the offensive line and the run game. They gave up pick 128 in the 4th round to secure David Montgomery's services, and they brought in Braden Smith and Wyatt Teller, who both project to be offensive line starters this year, and even Reed Blankenship. So again, bring in some caulk power into the secondary. Then we get into their departures. Their biggest departure was trading away Titus Howard, who played a ton of football. But again, like I've always said, like Titus Howard, when your best, like I guess, ability is that you have flexibility, I don't think you're a great player. So again, Titus Howard could be a fine right tackle for Cleveland, but he is a player I'm willing to lose for the Texans when you can bring in two players in Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith who theoretically can start. Juke Scruggs was thrown into the David Montgomery deal. He's just a depth center, whatever. They're free agents. They lost nobody. Like Christian Kirk, Tim Settle, really just depth players who, again, will be phased out by players they either drafted this year or last year. And Derek Barnett is someone that is, again, I think could theoretically come back as a run-setting edge, but someone that I don't think you're, like, kicking yourself going, oh, man, he's gone. Their draft was pretty, like, hey, let's get Mean again. I kept like, let's bring Mean back to Houston.
This draft, dude.
Their first 4 picks, again, like taking Keelan Rutledge, even if it's a center at round 1, it's just a completely mind shift changing move in round 1. They trade up for Caden McDonald to play nose. Marlon Klein from Michigan, again, those 12 personnel inline tight ends were just drying up fast. They had to get one in round 2. And then Nwawu out of Oklahoma, kind of a project guard, but someone that does not have to play this year. So again, could be someone in the long-term plans, but not someone they're thinking about this year. And then even Wade Woodaz is someone who's just like, again, like Henry To'oTo'o was a good player a few years ago. I liked him coming out. He's like, he just runs around and he hits people. That's exactly what D'Amico Ryans loves to have. And so I think Wade Woodaz is going to be someone who's on this team, as well as Aiden Fisher in the 7th round, guys. I'm telling you, he's going to make the roster, and he's going to be a good player. And then we go into the remaining questions. I have no questions on the defense. Defense is great. Like, let's talk about the offense. Bottom 5 offensive line a year ago, they're only returning 2 starters, and it's kind of the good starters. Ursery kind of picked up in the back half of last season, playing left tackle, and Ed Ingram was a good run player. Like, he was a good mover off the ball, and still limited in the pass game, but we can't, have our cake and eat it too. Can this finally be the year they are just average to good in that unit? Does this shift that I talked about, let's get Mean again, does Keelan Rutledge really step in and be a guy that you just feel from the moment he's on the field? Is Wyatt Teller someone you feel? Wyatt Teller and Ed Ingram, both of their careers have only played right guard, so one of them's got to play left guard. I don't. It projects to be Teller, but we'll see. And finally, Braden Smith is playing right tackle, comes over from the Colts, played a pretty good season. Just, again, can they just be average? I think we're all just doing that game. Can this team just be average on the offensive line? And then my second question, kind of a fun little throw in here. The skill guys, like, actually good. Are they good enough? Because, again, we're talking about the Texans doing what? Winning the Super Bowl, right? I don't know if these guys are amazing. Like, I think, again, you're betting on the Iowa State kids to take another step up from, Jalen Nolan, Jaden Higgins in the draft. David Montgomery, for the first time in his career, kind of took a step back. Nico Collins, maybe he takes another ascension, but it's similar to, Seattle. Like, Seattle's playbook to winning the Super Bowl is how the Texans have to win the playbook. Well, Seattle had a guy who was the offensive player of the year, had 1,800 yards. Can Nico Collins be that guy? That's a big, lofty expectation. That's a big step up. But if you're trying to recreate the Seahawks playbook of, like, let's carry this 14th best quarterback all the way, the skill guys have to be amazing. And I look at them, and it's still a lot of theory to me, more so than actual results. So that's my biggest question. Can those guys take a step up?
Yeah, I mean, in response
absolutely.
in response to your question are the skill guys good enough? Something else to add for Tank Dell. As of 3 weeks ago, there's light at the end of the tunnel. He's wanting to progress through training camp and kind of go from there. I'm looking forward to that return just because I think that he's a good addition to this team and what that wide receiver core looks like. They obviously let Christian Kirk go, and he kind of, fits kind of what Kirk was doing. The offensive line additions, I feel like, can get this team to exactly where they need to be. My biggest question is is what happened at the end of the season going to continue throughout the rest of this season for CJ Stroud, or are we going to return to what he was for the regular season as well? Because that's a massive, massive part of this team's success. Now, I think that this defense is so good to the point where they can win you 7 or 8 games by themselves. You don't have to have a great quarterback to win with the defense as great as this. And the head coach is just as talented as well to get you across that finish line. And the addition of David Montgomery in the running back room was a very much needed addition to this after trying out the Nick Chubb experiment. It's a great addition to it. This team looks great, and I'm excited to dive into it before I give up too much. Ben, you were going to say something before I cut you off.
Yeah. Well, Tank Dell was really like the big piece, right? Like if you're looking for explosion, that is going to have to come from Tank Dell, and from a guy who will not be named that it did not like coming out of the draft. Maybe he takes the leap into year 2. But really, I think a lot of that weight again comes onto Tank Dell. When Tank Dell is healthy and when Tank Dell plays, he is a very, very good wide receiver. He hasn't played football in a year and a half, so it's really, really difficult to put a lot of like your hope and desire on Tank Dell. But I think Nico Collins is a very good player. Again, you add David Montgomery, who I still think is a very serviceable running back. But the big piece of this, I think, really just comes down to the offensive line. Again, this is a conversation that we've had off the show here. As you said, you kept the 2 pieces that you felt very confident about going, or I don't say very confident about, but the 2 pieces that you felt good about along the offensive line, and then you retooled and added players to fill in the positions that you didn't. So again, like that was like more so than anything, like this huge glaring hole where you're just like, we can't even keep CJ Stroud upright. Now, like we've filled this gap. Can we keep him upright? Can we see what he can do? I've obviously am of a different mindset than you guys are when it comes to CJ Stroud as the quarterback show kind of entailed there. I think CJ Stroud is a fine quarterback. Again, for him, when it rains, it pours. Absolutely. But it was like 2 bad games for him. And like, obviously the negativity is what's going to stick out into our memory. And we're like, wow, that was rough and hard to watch. But like, he had a fine season regardless. Like those 2 games aside, like his season was fine. Like I really don't think it was as bad as what people really want to say it is. Like he's getting a smear on the national media. That being said,
4 interceptions in the first half.
Again, it was bad. I just said it was awful. It was not good. But when let's not act as if like his entire season was bad and that he's just like Nathan Peterman at this point.
Well,
like,
when it comes to media,
like good flashes across like his career that I think like you can have some confidence in when we can keep him upright. I understand what you're saying. I just don't think he's as bad as a quarterback as what like people are trying to portray him as. The player I think is just going to take the leap this year again. Will come as a no surprise to Matt. It's Deontay Ursery. I loved him coming out of the draft. He's just a very, very big guy and moves better than what you think a guy his size would. As Matt said, he really turned it on in the second half of the season. Can he continue to build off of that, especially now that he has a little bit more trust, hopefully, with the guys that he's playing alongside? I think he can take a leap into maybe top 15, 16 offensive tackle, or left tackle, not offensive tackle, left tackle in the league this year.
I'll lean towards Caden McDonald and
Caden McPounder.
And yeah, I'll say Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, my breakout play. I mean, it has to be Ursary, right? Like I feel like that is
Yes.
again the way we
Yes.
talk about this team in terms of like
Yes.
Super Bowl, and this is like I want to make that clear. Like it's not me saying like definitely going to happen, but more so like if we talk about this team in the context of winning the Super Bowl, and this is kind of running out. By the way, I just want that to be like mentioned. They did a lot of housekeeping, as I mentioned, a lot of extensions. There's no C.J. Stroud name there, so again, like and that's gonna come right if he continues to ascend and play at the level that we hopefully believe he can to win a Super Bowl. But like for that to happen, Ursary has to be a good left tackle. Like that has to be an ascension, and that has to be a part of this prognosis. Is that he is getting good offensive line play more so, and more so, it's good, really good tackle play. So yeah, Ursary is the name that comes to mind for me.
Cool. Let's get to the schedule.
Nice.
Find
I'm
it.
so excited.
There we go.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Hey, by the way, just got to say this. A+ job to the graphic design teams in this division. Just saying.
Not better.
Just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
just the bed. Except C+ job on this one, because why are you putting the preseason in the same row as the first 4 weeks? Bad. Anyways, all right, cool. I'll start us off.
I
but
didn't
it's
notice that.
marked. But it's marked in
It
gray.
is
It is.
marked. Yeah,
It
it is
is.
marked.
Still weird. Okay, I'll bump it up to a B-, but I still don't like it. I'm not happy about it.
They're the same grade.
So can we start first row and the second row, third row, and we'll just do 4 weeks at first? Is that fine?
I want to
Yep.
stress this out. I because you guys are teasing this. I want to go the first 4, then the next 3 bye, and then the next 3. I want to go through this.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
First 4.
Yeah.
I have them. Let's see. That's at home. Nah, they're losing to Buffalo. They'll beat Cincy. They'll beat Indy. Oh my God, that one's gonna be so much fun. They're going to beat Dallas, 3-1.
I have them beating Buffalo, losing to Cincinnati, losing to Indianapolis, beating Dallas, 2-2.
Nice. I have them beating the Bills, beating the Bengals, beating the Colts, losing Dallas, starting out 3-1.
Next 3 games, I have them winning every single one of them, so they are 6-1 going into the bye. Feeling good.
I have them beating Tennessee, losing to Jacksonville, beating the Giants. So I have them, I believe, 4-3. Yep.
Nice. I have them beating the Titans, losing to the Jags, beating the Giants. So I have them 5-2.
5-2. All right. Next 3 games after the bye, I have them losing to the Chargers, beating the Colts, beating the Browns. I said that weird. Beating the Browns, beating the Colts. So 8-2.
I have them coming out of the bye, winning 3 straight games, beating the Chargers, beating the Browns, beating the Colts on Thursday Night Football.
7-3 for Matt so far. Ben?
Yes, I have them losing to the Chargers and then beating both the Browns and Colts 7-3 as well.
And then how do you want to break this up here, Matt? 3 and then 4, or just finish it?
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Okay. Lost to Baltimore, beating Pittsburgh, lost to Washington. So
Yep, exact same.
9-4.
Losing to Baltimore, beating Pittsburgh, and losing to Washington.
I have them beating the Ravens, Steelers, and Commanders. Yeah.
And then to round us out, beating Jacksonville, beating Philly, beating Green Bay, beating Tennessee. So 13. 4.
Brian, you stole my team. This makes me upset. Anyways. Sorry.
Beating Jacksonville, beating Philadelphia, losing to Green Bay, and then a very important win for their 11th game against Tennessee to take the division record over the Jaguars. Both of them finish 11-6, so the Texans win the division by tiebreak.
I have them winning all 3 of these games. I have them winning the last 7 games of the season. I have them winning the last 9 games of the season. They catch their stride. The offensive line looks great. CJ Stroud is fantastic. Tank Dell is healthy. This defense, again, is the best unit in all of football. They're finishing the season as 14-3, and what I will say is the best team in all of football. I love the Texans. I originally had them 13-14 with the loss to the Packers. But because Ryan had them at 13-14, I just had to one up you at this point. People can't be higher on the Texans than I am. It's not possible. You can't do it. But no, I have them 14-13. That Packers game does scare me a little bit because it's going to be Lambeau weather. And you play in a dome in Texas.
CJ Stroud plays great in January, by the way, in the cold.
Exactly. So it scares me a little bit. Lot of it.
Packers are bad.
But defense travels, and defense doesn't care. I want every dude on that Texans defense to not be wearing long sleeves. Just everyone rock out with their armbands.
The Tennessee Volunteer way.
It's gonna be great. No, I am truly in love with this Texans team. Again, this defense, there's not a unit in football that I am more confident in their stability of than the Texans defense. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid in terms of what they did on the offensive line. Tank Dell, again, being back, if you could not tell, I think will be a huge piece to this offense. David Montgomery will be a huge step up from what Nick Chubb obviously was for them. I am so just viciously prepared for this to blow up in my face when CJ Stroud is like one of the worst quarterbacks in all of football. And I look back on this in a year and I'm just like, how did this happen? But yes, Texans 14-3.
All right. So to finish us off here for the AFC South, the final standings are as follows. Everybody's basically got the same thing. The only difference, I have Texans in first, Jaguars in second, Titans in third, Colts in fourth, and then Ben and Matt both have Texans in first, Jaguars in second, Colts in third, and then the Titans in fourth.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it. We're doing the North next week, guys. We're doing the West next week. Another very fun division. What will probably be a fully healthy Patrick Mahomes or a mostly healthy Patrick Mahomes. Can the Broncos catch fire and continue what they did last season? Raiders with Fernando Mendoza. So a lot of fun conversations to be had next week as well. Make sure you guys are staying tuned through the course of all of this. We got 6 more divisions to go for you guys.
Don't go anywhere. We still have 2 segments to get to.
2 segments
leading us into that. Weddle being the first one, and then 17-0 being the second one. We still have yet to go 17-0.
Still yet to go, as if this is like a very long thing that we've been striving for over the course of the last year.
Dude, it's going to be that Mr. Krabs thing of like, give it up for day 13. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we'll see how many tries it takes.
I might have to get tickets to that Colts-Texans game, by the way. Like, that is something I might like genuinely have to look into. And like, I'm going to go and I'm just going to be miserable. I'm just like, this is awful. Like, Daniel Jones is gonna put up like 400 yards on this Texans defense, and I'm just like in my seat, like crossing my arms, just like, ugh. Why did I spend $200 on a ticket to this?
My God. They're actually not that bad in price. I'm like looking at them right now. But anyways.
I'm surprised you had them winning 13 games, Ryan, just because I felt like you were the very leader of the CJ Stroud is bad campaign.
Yeah.
He can be average. It's fine.
Everybody can be average. All right, who do we want to start with?
Oh, Devontae Smith.
Nia Smith, that's funny.
Such a big statement. Oh my God. Okay.
So AFC, not a receiver. AFC quarterback? Somebody say an AFC quarterback.
Justin Herbert.
Ooh. No. Not a quarterback. So tight end? Gotta be right. If he's over 6 foot. AFC tight end.
Oh my gosh. The tickets for this game are like $50, $40. Guys, we gotta go to this game. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Harold Fannin. No, the age doesn't work. Age doesn't work.
Sorry, I should probably look at this.
I thought you just wanted to see tight end.
Go with
Bowers.
Yeah.
The age doesn't
The age still wouldn't work, but
the division doesn't work.
No, Fannin.
Andrews?
Yeah, we're just going.
No, age still wouldn't
just going
work.
Fannin. Get it.
Okay, it's the wrong division anyway. Dalton
But
Schultz. We talked about him today.
Dalton Schultz. AFC South.
Dang it.
Not Warren Strange.
Strange.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes.
All right. Let's go to the hard mode.
Little hard.
Get ready for
Everybody
this.
knows who.
Get ready for this.
Gervon Dexter.
Gervon Dexter.
I wanted to guess.
Defensive.
I wanted to guess a punter off the rip. I wanted to guess a punter so bad. Like I just watched.
You've been doing punter research.
Well, I just watched a video about Ethan Evans and how he's like the only player from Wingate University to ever play in the NFL at start. But anyways, it's you, Matt.
Good trivia. NFC defensive player who's kind of younger.
Kind of young. Maybe he's short, but like shorter than 6'5".
Nope.
DB. So he's 25 years old. He's a DB.
Yep.
6 feet tall.
He's in between number 1 and number 99.
And number 99. Got the East or the West? Trent McDuffie, I think, is too old.
Too short too. He's not gonna be.
Yeah,
short.
yeah, I know. Q's not that old. There's a Cowboys player that's like standing out to me, but I just can't think of his name, so we're just gonna pivot. It can't be him, but Mike Sanders still.
Nope. He is 25.
Yeah.
Oh, you've missed the one important ingredient. He's 0. That's not.
Yes. Yeah, definitely not the height or anything, you know.
No, it's the.
Okay, so 25.
So he's in the West.
Old. Trying to think of.
Oh!
Does Woolen still play for them? No, right? Nah, go with Woolen.
No comment.
Yeah. Try
He's
again.
not here.
Oh, you guys so lucky. Tyreek Williams, a Philadelphia Eagle, my friend.
Ooh, okay. Trying to think of who else was on that. It's been a very long day. I'm very tired.
I think I might know who it is.
Do they have Kobe Bryant listed as a Bear? Just throw it in there. I'm cool with that being my guess. If not, with a Y.
Yeah. He's here. Do you want to guess it?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, I just want to see just for
They have
future.
AJ Brown as a Patriot. So that's all I'm saying.
They do. Wow, nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, this is where my head goes. Yep.
Yeah.
17-0. Let's do it.
Woo. 17-0.
I feel like that was the
Do I save
easy
search
one.
on? Hopefully I do. What? Oh.
17-90.
All right. Everybody.
You start. We'll do 3 rounds. We start with Ryan. Next round we'll start with Matt, and then the last round we'll start with me. If we get that far, but we're not, because we're gonna get it the very first time, right here, right now.
Get better.
LaFleur. I'm not doing it. LaFleur.
Over Tucker Craft. Okay. Philly. I mean Barkley.
Oh, you guys.
There's no winner.
Neighbors.
No winner.
is the winner. Right?
No.
I don't know how they weigh him. Like, I think of him as still a good receiver, but
say likely, I guess.
Okay.
I think he does the least amount of damage to our potential. Yikes.
go
Yeah,
Jaden
this ain't the
Daniels.
one.
Yeah, this ain't it. Go Jaden. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, defense.
Oh, defense. Yeah.
Defense.
That was just me making sure Ben didn't pick defense.
Oh, thank you.
London.
Yeah. Olamide Zacchaeus. Yeah.
I was going to say, that felt like
15-2. Sorry.
I think we got 5 out of 6.
Yeah, likely was probably the wrong one. All right, Matt, you start.
Nice. I mean,
Well, Jeremiah Love.
Ooh, over McBride. Okay.
Yeah.
And we could have gotten. Okay. Do we go Kittle or do we go Shanahan? You got to go Shanahan, right?
Ben's pick.
You're right. My bad.
It is my pick. The way Ryan was talking, I thought it was his pick.
I thought it was my pick.
Well, it's so tough because, like, is this based off of, like, what next season's going to be, or is this based off of last season? Because I would say Kittle. Because there are not very many tight ends better in the NFL than George Kittle. But also, I think there's too much variable because, obviously, if it's based off what they're going to do this year, he's a 0, so we'll do Shanahan. And, of course, I picked the head coach. Damn it.
I was going to say, I think Shanahan should be one of the best coaches in this, right? Broncos defense.
I mean, you would hope, right? Guys, we're cooking. Do it. Do it. Ted.
It's okay. Saying it.
Strange is fine.
Yeah. Think I was gonna pass.
He
up
just
the
had to
Love
say
back
we
here.
were cooking too.
Oh yeah, that's my
It was a
fault.
good start.
I jinxed it.
I
That
mean,
was a pretty good
the
start.
Panther one was gonna kill us anyway.
No
And,
matter
like,
what.
I just there's no way McMillan is weighed high enough. There's no Panther that's weighed enough in this. I bet.
Maybe
All right,
defense,
Ben.
but that's it.
Last go round of the week.
Yeah, I mean,
Jamar
this is
Chase.
layup. Yeah, layup.
Accidentally misclicked Chase Brown.
Give me McBride. I want to see if that does any better.
Jets.
Oh.
Breeze.
I mean, it has to be. Yeah.
You guys know I love
Coach.
this team.
I think it's punting the coach. It's punting the coach.
If only we had
Punting.
Jonathan Taylor, but like you couldn't have done anything for the
Yeah.
Jets, so like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Go with
Me
go
with
with
that.
the coach.
Hey, watch it, buddy. This is my choice. If I want it to be Daniel Jones,
I'm sorry. I did that again.
yeah, Shane Steichen. Is Chris Ballard an option?
High upside.
If we want to chase the ceiling, which is what we're trying to do, I think we could take Anthony Richardson.
Seth McGowan.
Oof.
Goff.
Yeah, I mean,
Ooh,
cool, dude.
this
Like,
is.
Seattle.
I'm with Goff now.
Nah.
13-4.
Nah, that was terrible. We got four teams who are just not good.
Yeah. All right. Well, tune back in next week for our third round, and hopefully I don't cut Ben off.
Hey,
twice.
Ryan. What division are we doing next week?
The West.
Yeah.
I studied a compass this week. So, any
My
closing
homework.
comments, gentlemen?
Okay, so we are a football podcast. Matt, really quickly, do you have any futures on any soccer teams that are still in this?
No, I don't. I'm thinking about pairing France with like a Super Bowl team and just doing that and like trying to get some juice because they're still, I think, like plus 100 and they're a wagon.
Mm-hmm.
But rooting for Norway. I think Norway is the most fun outcome. I
Fun.
can't stress that enough.
Yeah, dude. I got France at plus 500. We're riding that. I'm so happy.
Did you really?
I got France at the start before the first game of the tournament.
Oh, I have that Argentina one too.
I've got
that
another.
went over my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got another non-football question to ask. It's pretty good.
Yes, Jalen
over
Brown's
under 3.5 Pigskin Project episodes before LeBron has a team.
Over.
Right, like 3.5 from now.
So
or like
next
3.5
week is
from-
1. So I'm saying 3 or 4 weeks
Under.
before his decision.
Under.
He'll be a
Under.
Cav in under 3 weeks, according to Ben.
He'll be a Cav in by next week's episode.
It's not what Adam Schefter knows.
I
Yeah.
don't care what Adam Sefner says.
It'd be fun. Though.
I think Bill Simmons had the best thought. He should wait until like December. He should just watch everybody and be like, you know what? Where should I go? I'm gonna watch all the teams, and then the Thunder and Spurs are the best teams. And he goes, I think I should go to one of those teams. Like I think that's the funniest thing that he's said. Where it's like, yeah, we don't know who's gonna be good in December, man. Like we have no idea how good these teams are gonna be.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah. It really quickly too. Not that it matters, but McGregor fights this weekend, guys. It's gonna be great. Anyways, that's my last thing.
Yeah, the weigh-in was tonight, or not weigh-in. The presser was tonight. So
The weigh-in's tomorrow.
Weigh-in's Friday. It's gonna be great. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Pigskin Project. We want to thank Spotify for podcasters, Regional Radio Sports Network, and Uppercut Screaming for helping us promote and grow as a podcast. And until next week, we will see you guys later.